Hi, Alex McLeish, born in Glasgow. Well, when I was younger, obviously primary school, and in those days there was no football academies per se, and I thought, my dad thought, what's the next step for my son? Because after he left primary school, well, obviously there's the secondary school, which we went on to. We had a successful team. Peter Weir, who became a teammate of mine at Aberdeen, was at the same school, and my dad also worked in government shipbuilders at the time, and he had a lot of mates who did the boys clubs, and one of his pals said to my dad, why don't you bring your boy for a trial? And that was a team called Glasgow United. But prior to that, I played for another team called Rantic. The viewers, can you work that out? Because that was a mix of boys who were Rangers supporters and Celtic supporters. And our founder, did this experiment, and we had a great time for a couple of years. And successful team, and lads were being looked at by professional teams. But then I went to Glasgow United, and that kind of was a catalyst for me to be scouted, if you like, at that age, under 14, 15. And a lot of the boys were getting signed up in S forums, and I wasn't quite getting that kind of attention. There was rumours at one or two clubs, and I thought, right, I'm not giving up here. The one thing I'll never do is give up my passion for this game. And the only thing I wanted to do was join a professional football club. I had my chance to go to Chelsea and trial. There was a couple other teams in Scotland that, not Rangers or Celtic, it was lower teams. And then I heard the Rangers were trying to make a push for me at the very time that Bobby Calder sealed the deal. And we did the journey to Aberdeen. I did that journey with 9 other hopefuls, and there was only 2 of us who really made the real breakthrough, and that was another lad called Jim Leighton. I'm sure you remember him. Well, I did have overtures to move on. We had a really persuasive manager by the name of Alex Ferguson. I don't know if you'll have heard of him. And when it came to contract chats, it was quite intimidating. Going into the office, just me and him. There was no agents in those days. And going in and battling with Sir Alex. In fact, there was a lot of talk about me going down to Tottenham, and I'd had some calls, as you do, or you hear in the grapevine, and I think the gaffer had put the phone down on them. And a few of the English managers that I've met over the years have told me that. And when going in to see him, then Jill was waiting on me outside, my wife, and she says, so we're going to London then? I says, well, I'll go and put him in his place. And as soon as I get through the door, and I was like shaking, and he says, right, I want this deal sorted out before I go on holiday. And within about 10 minutes, I found myself shaking his hand and securing the deal for I think an extra tenner a week or something like that. So I went out. She says, well, are we going to London? And I said, I think I've just signed for another 3 years. So, but I'd committed myself to a club that were winning things, and we famously won the European Cup Winners' Cup in 1983 against the mighty Real Madrid. And I don't know if that'll ever happen again for a Scottish club, the way that football has changed. international scene was incredible. To be called up, and I'll never forget the very first cap that I got. And Jock Stein came to me at an awards dinner on the previous Sunday, where it was Player of the Year dinners, and he said I'd lost out on the Young Player of the Year to John McDonald of Rangers, and they did a recount. John won by a couple of votes, or one vote or something. And Jock Stein came to me and he says, "Listen, never mind about tonight. You're playing for Scotland on Wednesday." And I went, "What?" You know, this was just something that you dream of. And my Aberdeen form had obviously caught the attention of Mr. Stein, and Alex Ferguson was very close to Jock Stein also, so he'd probably be putting the word in for me as well. But Jock says I was actually playing. He didn't say I was in the squad. He says I'm playing, and we had a successful debut. At that time, I wasn't playing as a centre half. I was playing in midfield, and I played alongside Archie Gamble that night, and we beat Portugal 4-1. Those were the days, eh? And my career as a Scotland national player was quite prolific in terms of the caps. 77 caps I won and earned, and if I'd just get one cap for Scotland, I would have been the proudest man in the world as well. Well, the first year with Motherwell was sensational because I took over a good team. So it's great when you're going into a club with already some great quality in the team, in the squad. And Tommy McLeish was the manager there. He'd got them into a very tough team to beat, and they came third in the league the season before I joined. And then I kind of asked the guys to express themselves and try and let themselves loose and bring something else, see if they can raise their game and to another level, raise the bar, as they say. And that next season, my first season as a manager, as coach, we came second in the Premier League. We sandwiched the Rangers, who won the league, and Celtic were third. And Tommy Burns, who was a great friend, sadly lost him. Tommy said to me, well, I think he might even say it in the press, that I'd like to get my team playing to the level of Motherwell. And I thought, wow, the Celtic manager saying that. But I think at that time Celtic were kind of rebuilding. And I thought management was easy, but I was in for a shock the next season because I lost a lot of the players through injury or retirement, and it was a complete rebuild. And then the most important thing, after you get your manager installed or your coach installed in place, is recruitment. And I found that out that next year in the Motherwell, where we kind of slipped below the standards we'd created the two previous seasons. During my Motherwell period, there was some interest from other clubs, and the Hibs came calling, and I saw that as a step up. Motherwell fans weren't too happy with me, to say that, probably still won't be. But you see that how the game has levelled out now, and most of the teams now are kind of in the same level. But at that time, Hibs were still seen as a very, very big club in Scottish football. And I thought, well, when I was a player, I should have moved 3 or 4 times. The lure of winning trophies with Aberdeen was very high. But then I had other chances possibly to go, and I didn't. But I thought, right, when I'm a manager and I get an opportunity and it's good for me and my family, which comes first always, then I'm going to take it. after Hibs, I had a great time at Hibs. We got promotion, first time of asking, to the Premier League again. We got in a cup final, we lost to Celtic, but we had a very, very good footballing side. Frank Sosie was one of the stars, a French international, who I still keep in touch with. And we had wonderful players, mixed with Pat Line and goal scorer, Russell Latipi, a genius with the ball, John O'Neill, and I could go through the whole team. Sorry guys if I've missed anybody out. But because I had a pretty decent time with Hibs then, and I never thought this would happen, but because I felt that they would only go for foreign managers, was a call from David Murray at Rangers and said, would you like to join Rangers? And of course he'd asked Hibs for permission by that time, and I said, of course, absolutely, no doubt about it. I grew up as a young man, as a Rangers fan. When I went to Aberdeen, I was purely professional and nothing mattered except the Dons. Yeah, I inherited a good team. Just again, this is familiar kind of vibe here with inheriting a good Motherwell team. And inherited a lot of fantastic players. Dick Advocat was the previous coach. He had some great success, and then all of a sudden Dick couldn't get anything out of him. I had a private chat with him and he said, look, I can't do no more. It's up to you to maybe get something out of me. And Dick went upstairs at Ibrox, and I came in, got close to the players. There was a lot of man management. We adjusted some tactics to the way that we should play, and we won the next 5 trophies, which again, you've always got the bad parrot on your shoulder as well, thinking, well, this is not going to last forever. But sure enough, again, it was a similar Motherwell scenario when we lost Ronald de Boer, Barry Ferguson, Amaruso, Arthur Newman, Michael Moles. There was a few others, and it was a complete rebuild. And when you don't rebuild properly with the right preparation, then it comes back to bite you very sorely, and especially with the demands and the expectations of a club like Rangers. Yeah, after Rangers I took a wee break, and then I never thought I would go into the Scottish manager job as early as I did. I thought, no, I'm probably not ready for that yet. But then when the call comes, it just entangles your brain, and you got to say, well, I'm being asked that. I cannot turn this down. And I took it, and we, a pretty good kick at trying to qualify for the tournament. Watersmith had some good results, and I kind of carried them on, and in the end we just narrowly lost out to Italians in the home game at Hampden, when we really played a terrific game, and at that moment I felt I couldn't wait for another season for a new competition, and I always had this ambition to go to the English Premier League, and I had a few calls before the Italian game, and I disregarded them, said no, I'm confident Scotland are going to get through here. And when we didn't, then my mindset changed, and that was the start of an English career. So after Scotland, I had an approach from a few English teams, and I chose Birmingham City. And unfortunately, they were at that particular time when I joined, they were languishing towards the bottom end of the table, and we tried to get certain players in January to arrest the slide, but couldn't stay in the division. And but we did great preparation in the summer when we went to the Championship to not only get up at the first time of asking, but to compete in the Premier League as well. And we did that. Back up, first time of asking, then a ninth in the Premier League, and then we won the Carling Cup. So again, that ranks with one of the greatest things that's happened in my career. Against mighty Arsenal. I may